Today we're doing a video on what we loved and hated about living in Belgrade, Serbia. And Gizmo's here. And we loved him.
He loves interacting, so he'll be part of this video today.
Yeah, you'll probably see him in the video.
He's been preparing all day for this role.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So we noticed that some people in the comments didn't know what to call us because they don't know our names. They've been calling us Gizmos, or my recent favorite, the Gizmovich family, which is so cute. But just so that we can introduce ourselves to people who are new to watching our videos, my name is Rylan.
And my name is Nick Gizmovich.
Yeah, we're keeping Gizmovich.
For sure, we're the Gizmovich family.
Yeah, so we're both Canadian and we are working remotely in different countries across Europe for 6 months. So we're super lucky to have the opportunity.
Yeah, and so we're just having fun out here and basically using YouTube to document our experiences, and it's been great.
Yeah, so all the videos that you see on like the day-to-day are basically us just trying to get the most of where we're staying before work starts.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still in Canadian time zones for work, and so we have the whole morning and early afternoon, but then we have to get back and we have to get to work.
Yeah. And we're not really coming back to work, we're coming back to play with Gizmo. Let's be real.
Oh yeah, totally. So we've been living in Belgrade, Serbia for a month now, and we've been traveling to other places such as Novi Sad and Budapest as we've been here, but it's been a great opportunity for us to experience a relatively longer term stay in a different country, and it's giving us a very nicely rounded idea of the place, the people, the culture, the food, everything, you name it, and the weather. I'm noticing one interesting thing about the weather here, at least at this time of year, is you get beautiful, partially cloudy or sunny days, and then out of nowhere you'll get a short burst of like light rain and heavy wind, and it'll disappear after a couple hours, and you're back to normal again. It's just, and I just thought that was interesting. It's been a pattern repeating throughout the whole month.
Yeah, very erratic weather, but pretty good weather for the most part. I'd say on most weekdays we've had like excellent sunny weather. And then it rains when we go home to work, which is perfect for us.
Works out.
So what we've done is we've made a list of some of the things that we've loved, some of the things that we've hated, and some of the things that we've been surprised about while living here in Serbia. So I guess we'll get started.
Okay, so one of our favorite things in Belgrade is all of the cats and dogs that we've seen here. All of the cats hanging out in the alleyways and in the grass and in the parks and stuff. We've started to learn their favorite places to hang out and our favorite cats in those places, and what time of the day we can expect to find them. It's been great. If
you've seen any of our videos, you know we're huge cat people.
Oh, totally.
But also dog people. Like, we've seen a lot of cute dogs.
Yeah, we've noticed the dogs that are here with owners and everything, they are very well behaved. We've noticed that a lot or most of them are being walked off leash, which is simply, I don't even think it's legal in Canada to do that.
Yeah.
You're only allowed to have your dog off leash outside in Canada if you're in a park, or whenever you're in a city, it's specifically dog parks. You can't have them out on the sidewalk. Whereas here, the dogs are very well trained. They know what's going on, and they're being very safe and smart about it. And we've noticed, for example, an owner will go inside a shop, but they'll tell their dog, like, wait here. No leash, not tied to a fence post or anything like that. The dog will just sit at the door with and he won't go inside, won't run away. Will just stay there and wait for its owner perfectly. And we've noticed that several times. Like, wow, that is really interesting. It's really cool.
Impressive. Yeah. Another thing that we absolutely loved about our stay here is the healthcare system. We went to a private health clinic, which is going to be obviously more expensive than public health care, but for us it was affordable, especially because we bought traveler's health insurance. Just an update on the whole situation. So the reason I was so sick from bronchitis is because it triggered adult onset asthma. So yay me, I now have asthma. We were able to see a pulmonologist super quickly, like within a day of my follow-up appointment with the GP, which is so impressive. Like, back in Canada, you'd be waiting months to find, to see a specialist. And so I was able to see a specialist the next day and get like corticosteroid injections and spirometry tests. Like, everything within like 2 days, which was super, super impressive for us. Also, like we did have some issues with translation and stuff. Like we had to use Google Translate during the doctor's appointment, but they were super, super nice and friendly, and the whole process was super easy.
Another thing that I love very much about Serbia is that there is a coffee shop on every corner of every building of everywhere. And so we never have to worry about where to find a coffee shop, because in the moment that we decide, there will be one within 5 steps. And we love that. Coffee is great. And the one thing that we're noticing is the coffee culture of just sitting there and enjoying the experience and the area. That's one thing as well that we're loving.
Another thing that we loved about Belgrade is the diversity in architecture. So like in downtown Belgrade, you'll be on one block and see a neoclassical building, an Art Deco building, a brutalist building, and a super modern building, all in the same space, which is really neat to see. It's always exciting to walk around the city center. Yeah. And what our friend Ivan was mentioning is that it's difficult to compare Belgrade to other cities, for example, like a city in Switzerland, because Switzerland hasn't been in war since like 300 years ago, whereas Belgrade has been in a ton of wars. Not only that, but they're not getting a ton of help from the EU in terms of like funding to replace everything. And so I think it's just amazing at what they've done to like kind of rebuild the city, or at least to build around the damage that's been done. Like for example, the waterfront area is super impressive. And I like that it has a ton of character. The city has a ton of character and a ton of diversity.
For our next section, we're going to talk about some of the things that we didn't necessarily like from being around here that are different from what we're used to, at least.
Yeah. I'd say the first thing that we kind of hated is the dog poop here. It's a little bit out of control. I mean, the dog poop is really our only complaint about like cleanliness of the city, because there is like street cleaners every day that you'll see. Barely any litter, like pretty much no litter in the main areas of the city center. And it's just like pretty clean otherwise. Like there's graffiti, but like other than that, it's pretty clean. Mm-hmm. But there is dog poop everywhere. I've stepped in poop too many times to count here. Yeah. And part of that is just me being clumsy, not watching where I'm walking, but also I'd love to not step in dog poop. So
understandable.
That's a pretty valid complaint from us.
I think that's part of the consequence of having the freedom of having the off-leash dogs go. You let them do their own thing, right? As you won't see all the time whenever they're doing their business. And so, there's a pro and there's a con. As a dog owner, I would love to live in the city. As someone who does not own and walk a dog every day, it gets a little annoying cleaning the bottom of my shoe all the time. So
I have white shoes. It's not very fun.
And don't get me wrong, we have dog poo in Toronto. Oh yeah. Not to as high of a degree, but there are certain like parts of town where it's just like it just doesn't get cleaned up. So, we feel for you. We get it. Yeah. And another thing that we noticed that we could go without is all of the hills in Belgrade. Belgrade is a very hilly city. At least the part that we're staying in is very hilly and quite steep. And so it means that every time we leave our house, we need to go up and down like 6 to 10 flights of stairs every single time. Up and down hills all the darn time. And at first, we were both entering it with a positive mindset of like, hey, this is great exercise. Like it's good cardio, we're gonna burn some calories, we're gonna get nice and fit, we're gonna have nice, big, strong calves. And yes, that is true, and it does work that way. And we try to maintain that optimistic mindset, but also when it's been a really long day, we've already walked 25 to 30,000 steps, and now we've got to climb 8 flights of stairs, and our legs are already burning from such a big day, it gets old. So
yeah, I think also the severe unmedicated asthma tainted my perception of the hills here.
Yeah. We had a good week where I had to carry Rylan up all the stairs every time because it's just you didn't have the lung capacity to handle it. Yeah. Unfortunately.
So that was one thing. I think it's also like circumstance. I think it's a great way to stay fit by like walking around like a lot of hills.
Absolutely.
But it definitely does like get old.
You can tell that it's working for everyone because almost everyone who lives here is in great shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone is in excellent shape here. They take care of themselves, and so that's very impressive. And I think the hills might be partially to thank for that.
Yeah. And then the last thing that we didn't love about Belgrade is the taxi mafia. So I don't really know how it works, but it's something that we read about and definitely experienced. I think it's definitely manageable to get around while living here without taking a taxi, but there are times, like when we got out of the airport at 12 o'clock, midnight, and we had to get home, a taxi was pretty much our only way if we didn't want to wait like an hour or two for a bus. And we tried doing what people suggested, which was getting
the little, it's like a ticket from the vendor that's inside the airport.
Yeah, fixed pricing, yeah.
The fixed pricing deal, so you're not trying to haggle with the taxi cab driver.
Yeah, so the guy gave us a fixed pricing tag, but then when we gave it to the taxi driver, he charged us like 30% more. And then he talked to the police, because there was a police like hanging out with all the taxis, and the police like agreed with him to charge us more. And so there's definitely something going on with the taxi drivers here. I think they definitely overcharge a lot, like much more than like if we were to get an Uber in downtown Toronto, which is already pretty expensive.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's one thing we can definitely work around, but it's something that we didn't love.
Yeah, I guarantee you that paying $45 was it?
For a 12-minute drive.
For a 12-minute drive, that's unreasonable in any country. And so there's like, that's definitely not the actual price. I'm sure there is a non-tourist price that is 5 times or 6 times cheaper, I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe if there even is,
but like that, it was just like after a really long day in a very, like traveling to Budapest, which was already a very expensive city, it was kind of a downer to lose 45 Canadian dollars again just to get home.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah.
And now let's go over the things that surprised us. There's a few things that definitely surprised us coming here, and one of those things was the local English speaking. Now again, I must say that like we don't mind if we talk to someone they don't speak English. We're more than happy to figure out ways to communicate using maybe our hands or pointing or getting out Google Translate and typing things down or whatever. We're more than happy to do that. It just surprised us that it seems to be that maybe the people who live here locally don't have as strong English as other countries that we visited so far. That's okay. It's like if it's not as much of a priority, no problem. I'm just saying it surprised us. I'm not saying we dislike it.
Yeah, we're not coming to a foreign country expecting everyone to speak our language. But it was just, and this is just our experience. I'm sure there are tons of people in Belgrade that do speak good English. Yeah. But just from our experience.
And don't get me wrong, everyone here knows hello, bye, thank you, like simple words like that are used very commonly when talking to new people. They all know those words, but whenever it comes to like when you're asking more of a complicated question or something like that, they don't understand, and as we usually have to use Google Translate for that. Examples where we noticed that English was a little bit more difficult and we had to use more Google Translate and stuff like that were whenever Rylan had to go to the hospital to get treatment, when we had to go to the pharmacy to get medication for that treatment, whenever we were going to restaurants or trying to communicate at the train station, or whenever we're just like trying to talk to people on the street, maybe ask for directions or for some help or something like that. That's when we notice that there's definitely a very strong language barrier there that we haven't noticed in other countries. And so we just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, for anyone else in this position or who's going to be in this position, when I went to the hospital, all of our communication with the doctor was with Google Translate, but it was actually kind of nice because you could save and screenshot everything, like all the important things they're telling you.
Yeah.
And so that was actually kind of a perk, to be honest.
It
worked well. And if anyone's going to be in our position in the future, definitely don't sleep on Google Translate because it works really, really well, and you can have a conversation with it.
Fully. Totally. And they were all very friendly as well.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
We love the people. They're super friendly. Just our experience with English is not what other people have, I guess. Mm-hmm. Another thing that surprised us is the trains here. So not only is the transit amazing, so like the local transit in Belgrade is really great, but Belgrade is also pretty well connected via train, and I wish we would have known that sooner, because I think had we known, we would have done a lot more day trips by train over the weekend. We loved our experience with the Soko train to Novi Sad, and I think if we had known earlier coming here, we would have done more trips to other cities in Serbia.
Yeah, totally.
But definitely, when we come back, we will be taking advantage of the trains.
Absolutely. So the last thing that definitely surprised us about Serbia is the amount of casinos, or max bets, or whatever. Balkan bet, all the different brands of little mini casinos that we're seeing all over the place. They're about as common as the coffee shops here. Like they're
more
everywhere.
Common than grocery stores even.
Seriously, especially whenever you get out of the city, there's more and more and more. It seems like there's like 4 in a row next to each other of 4 different companies and stuff like that. It's crazy, and it's interesting because in Canada, we definitely have casinos, right? But they're often a bit of a drive to get to, but when you do get to them, they're enormous. They're very, very, very large buildings with all kinds of stuff inside. Whereas here it seems like it's more frequent, more easy to get to. They're very walkable, walking from your home to get to one, but they're a lot smaller in size, we're noticing. And so it's like, it's just a completely different culture with that. And we're wondering, is that just like the way they prefer to do it, or do people in Serbia gamble more frequently? We're not sure. We don't really know how it works, but yeah, we're just like very surprised. Like we just looked out the window and there's tons of them. You know?
Exactly. That was on our bus to Zemun, I think, is when we noticed. Or no, the bus to the airport, I think, is when we noticed a lot of it. Like so many casinos and betting places.
Yeah.
So that was definitely a surprise. Didn't expect it.
All right, so there's our list of things that we loved, maybe not so loved so much, and things that definitely surprised us. Hopefully we didn't upset anyone too much about it. We know that, and we hope that the things that we dislike, maybe you guys share that same feeling. You know, maybe you guys stepped in one too many dog poops and you went, God damn it, enough with this, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, overall, I'd say we loved Belgrade as a city. I think it has an amazing energy, especially at nighttime. Like, it's really unlike anything we've ever seen before.
Absolutely.
If you're also curious about our initial thoughts on Belgrade, we made a video our first couple weeks into Belgrade, and all of that stands true. I don't think we've changed our opinion on any of those. But yeah, we loved Belgrade. We loved our time here. We've got one more week here, and we plan to visit a couple more things, including Ada Ciganlia Beach, I think it's called.
Yes.
We're having a beach day, so that's exciting. We're still gonna try and see as much of Belgrade as we can, but other than that, that's our review on Belgrade.
Thanks so much for having us, guys.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Everyone we've met here has been super, super nice and friendly to us. And we're grateful for all the friends we've made here.
Absolutely. That's probably my favorite thing, is all the friends we've made along the way.
Yeah.
For
Exactly.
sure. All right.
All right. Well, other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.